Hello, and welcome to this week's lesson. I'm Kieran, and I will be taking you through the 6 words found on this week's social media, which contain popular English words and phrases. We look at words and phrases from everyday life here in the UK, help you pronounce them, provide an easy to understand definition, and give you a clear example of how you could use it in real life. Anyway, let's get started with our first word this week. Hello, and welcome to this week's podcast, where we look at 6 of the most exciting words and phrases that we found in social media last week. So if you saw on our KWSA English, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram pages, you will remember these words. So now we'll go through them in a little more detail. So the first word this week is an exciting one, and this one is riveting. So let's have a look at the definition of this exciting word. This is an event or occasion which grabs the full attention of people and is able to keep them excited throughout the event. So there's the definition. Now let's look at the example. The friends had a riveting time at their friend's birthday party. They danced, chatted, ate delicious food, and danced. The second word we have for you this week is an interesting one to look at. And we can look at this one and see it is converge. So that's an exciting sounding word, but what's the definition to this one? Well, this is when more than one line or thing meets in the middle of a single point. They all face the same direction when pointing at the central point. So there's the definition. Now let's learn more by looking at an example. So the pencils were all arranged in a way so that their tips converged together in the middle. It also made a nice image to look at, with these pencils pointing all into the same direction in the middle. The next word we have for you this week is a very cozy one, and this one is campfire. So what is meant by campfire? Well, let's take a look in the definition. So a campfire is a small fire made by people who stay out in the countryside at night. The fire is used to keep people warm and to also provide light. So it's a very useful thing to have when you're staying out in the countryside at night. So let's have a look at an example to help us further understand. The friends had a great evening chatting in front of the campfire. They were camping at the campsite on top of the hilltop where they were sat in front of a fantastic view alongside their campfire. The next item in this week's list of words and phrases is another delicious one. So this one is something that we eat after our main meal. So let's have a look at this week's food word. So this is Jamrolly-Poly. So that sounds very delicious. So let's take a look at the definition to learn more. This is a soft cake which is curled up. It includes jam in the middle and is often served in the UK after the main dinner. So that's very interesting, and now we know when it's used and why. So let's take a look at the example to help us better understand jam roly-poly. The family bought a delicious jam roly-poly for after their Sunday dinner. They loved the sweet strawberry flavouring most of all. The fifth word we have for you this week can be quite a messy one and wet one. And this word we have is residue. So that's an interesting sounding word. And let's have a look exactly what it means. This is the last remaining parts of a liquid which remain after much has washed away and off of the object it is on. Water is often a residue. So there's the definition, and now let's have a look at the example. The students enjoyed a water fight in the swimming pool on the hot day. Afterwards, they wiped off residue with towels. So there we go, there's an example of how we can use residue in a sentence. So always we have to make sure we get all the water off of us after we have been playing in the pool. And the last remaining water, which is left on us, is also called residue. Finally, we have reached the final word this week. And the final word for this week's podcast and video is that of duo. So what does duo mean, I wonder? Let's take a look at the definition to find out. This is two people who often do things together. They often work in the area of music or in comedy to make people laugh. Wow, that's an interesting definition, and it tells us a lot about duo. But let's learn more by having a look at the example for duo. This could be the comedy duo had worked together for 14 years. They had done many comedy shows all over the UK and Ireland together. Thank you for taking part in this week's lesson. We really appreciate your company. We will be back with more lessons each week to provide you with the most important English words and phrases. Why not check out our website and find out how you can further improve your English with our online self-study courses. We have a free 2-week trial so you can learn exactly how to use our course by the time the trial ends. Feel free to check out our social media feeds to keep up with the latest news. Anyway, thanks for joining us again, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye!